Boom. Welcome back, everyone. Here we are, 8-bit Atomic Geeks. Here comes the Lazy strolling in very weirdly, as only Lazy can do.
That boy ain't right.
No, he ain't. So, all right. Been a few weeks. Just been busy. Is what it is. So tonight's going to be a little bit of an experiment. We couldn't really agree, I guess, kind of on a topic, or really not necessarily didn't agree. We just, I guess, just didn't feel strongly about anything. So, we were all
Well,
very.
You don't feel strongly about it.
We were all very neutral.
We feel strongly about a lot of things, but we couldn't
Well,
find common ground on this.
Yeah. So we were just very neutral, I guess. So yeah. So a little bit of experiment tonight. This is going to be, I guess, this is open mic night, for lack of a better term. Shooting the breeze is what we're going to call this. Whenever we're going to have one of these, we're going to go wherever we go.
See where it takes us.
Where it takes us. We've got Zesty back in on this one.
Hello.
So welcome back, Zesty.
AKA pissed off murderous Kirby.
Yes.
Kirby woke up and he chose violence.
Yeah.
Happily. Very happily.
Yeah,
chose
Very
violence.
happily.
Look at that smile.
Kirby smiles when he's pissed off. He smiles when he's sad. He smiles when he's happy.
He's a very hard guy to read.
All he knows is the hunger.
So, yeah. Shooting the breeze, shooting the bull. What was some of the other ones we had?
Chewing the fat.
Chewing the fat, sitting around the campfire. Yeah. So we'll go ahead. We'll choose just as our lead point, and then from there we go wherever. You had brought up Oregon Trail, voice. So yes, you can. You can play the whole thing completely in a web browser. I did find it.
I thought so.
Yeah, I found it.
There's a board game for it too.
Yeah,
and I saw some people playing it earlier tonight.
Really?
Yeah, somebody died of dysentery.
Actually, my playthrough earlier today, I had no one die of that. Didn't come up. Had a pretty good run. I only lost 2 people.
It was funny because like 2 of them died. 2 of them
the
had
cholera
broken
did
arms.
come in.
I'd always ford the rivers, and then I'd just lose everything.
Yep.
Oxen.
Well,
like 2/3 of my rations and like supplies.
I'm gonna ford the Snake River and I'm gonna lose my ass.
A wagon wheel go floating down the river and like
the very first stop. the random person you talk to, the miner 49 or whatever, is like, don't ever ford the river. It's bad. So I'm like, I want to pay attention to that. And I did all right.
Germ missed that part, or Lazy missed that part.
That's why you got to talk to people. There's important stuff. You can't just go run hog wild to Oregon.
You got to get there somehow.
You forget you're muted.
Well, that's what I just said. I said you got to get there somehow. And then I looked back and I said, "Oh, I'm muted." All right.
Gotta get there somehow.
So
you gotta
I'm
go around the river.
Off my stuff. Running off of my things wirelessly tonight, so we're gonna see how this works out.
So far you seem to be all right from our perspective. So
I got tired of lagging out on Diablo 3 so much on the Xbox. I just unplugged the network cable from my computer, put that to wireless, and then put the cable in the Xbox Series X, and
yeah,
off we go. And I stopped lagging so much.
I'll be honest, but because of how my house is, I don't have a choice. I've been doing these streams on wireless. So every once in a while, I will get a little notice
It'll be an issue.
on that corner of my screen, how I'm viewing it, where it's like signal strength warning, blah blah blah. But I've yet to actually notice anything. So yeah, probably not best practice, but it's actually working. So but yeah, so no, I did. I went ahead and because oddly enough, with Oregon Trail, I'd never actually like done a full playthrough. It was more just like a little bit here, some of the memes.
Yeah.
I played the zombie trail, the Oregon Trail zombie equivalent. I played more of it actually than the actual Oregon Trail before what I played earlier today. So, but yeah. So what else did you bring to the table on that one? What did you have in mind? You brought it up,
Well, I mean, we were just trying to come up with ideas, because we were talking. We follow our normal thing. It would be games that we talk about today, or a game, or game series, or whatnot. And I was like, we did a Halloween type thing. We talked about horror games or scary games, and I was like, what games are there
none
around
of us really know a
Thanksgiving
whole lot about?
that we don't know?
I'm the only one. I'm the outlier really for the horror genre, unless Zesty.
Not necessarily a game about Thanksgiving, but Borderlands 2 did have a Thanksgiving DLC with Torque, where you have to kill a giant murderous turkey that eats people.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you
Death
could
bird.
we could have done things along those lines, like
And
DLCs and.
It's one of my favorites because you get to meet Torque's grandmother, and it's literally just Torque with like a curly gray hair.
Oh Lord,
That's
and
hilarious.
boobs, and it's awesome. It's hysterical.
I'm his grandmother.
Yeah.
Explosions.
Yeah.
I mean, like Ark, they do a holiday thing every year.
The murder
right?
turkeys.
The murder
birds.
Oh God.
World of Warcraft does a Thanksgiving thing.
That's right. Yeah, they do have the harvest
feast or something to that effect.
They have their own name for it.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, there's games out there, especially if you play them online or they're MMOs or what have you. They do Thanksgiving-y things. But
was that a mousetrap? Did you just slap a mousetrap?
I did. No,
that was weird.
It
just has one of those preloaded on his desk.
It's right there. It's added for comic relief. It was my keyboard tray on the desk, but I was trying to think what games Thanksgiving-y, and I was like, Pilgrims, Frontier, Old Timey, Oregon Trail, and then my mind is weird. Don't judge.
Yep.
Don't you judge me.
But that's why it popped in my head more than anything. But the thing is what can you say about Oregon Trail? I mean, it is a classic. I think it has stood the test of time, even with as old as it is. It's
still funny.
Yeah.
One of the oldest games that we've brought up, I think, so far.
Yep.
I remember playing in an elementary school on Apple IIs.
Yeah,
probably
that's
played
where
on
I played
a toaster at this point.
Yeah, true.
Same with Doom. The original Doom could be played on like a toaster or a smart fridge.
The TI, 80, 82, 83? Somebody had programmed 85. Doom for that? 85? Yep. I don't remember. But yeah. Speaking of those old, so here we go.
Yep. Well, I mean, I saw somebody build a computer in Minecraft so that they could play Minecraft like 5 frames a second.
That random gun sway.
I think I'd just rather play Minecraft.
Yeah, I know, but it was like massive computer. Like it was actually had like the switches and the gates like that are in a computer chip, and like it was able to play Minecraft. and you could open up chests and stuff, and it was baffling.
I'm baffled right now as it stands. This is my baffled face.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But
Talking to those old, does anybody remember the fish game?
the fish
From
game?
Atari?
No. You're talking about the old like elementary school computers, where like
Fish game.
you were like a fish and you had
Was
to
it the
eat bigger
one where
fish.
you fished and you had to catch like there was different types of fish, but you could sometimes you would pull in a fish, or sometimes you'd pull in like a ball of what looked like seaweed or something nasty.
Was Bobbling Fluke and Tie in it?
No. Bobbly Flugenthal was not in
What?
that.
No.
You guys are talking way before me.
No, we're talking completely made up shit. Is what we're talking about.
That's
Yeah,
fair,
Yeah, I was
too.
gonna say, we're talking about some completely made up crap.
That is Bobbly Flugenthal for I can't even do it.
For Soothin' the Hootin' and Cootin' the Pie. Yeah.
Fished all day and fished all night.
For fish. long time ago right there.
That was when I would make up the most random of things and make a post about it, and I did.
Well, it was funny.
It was funny. Somewhere out there, I'm sure there is still a MySpace account for me that has that story. That's where that one originated from. So no, it was like you were like one size fish, and you had to do something to eat a bigger fish, and you kept growing.
Oh, actually, they have a modern version of that now, I think. Hold up.
Yeah, it's called Grow Your Hole.
No. Just no.
That's what that is. How much stuff can your hole eat? Things sucking down buildings.
We're talking.
Yes, we're still talking about a hole.
We're talking Donut County. Where you got the hole and the raccoons, or I mean,
No.
Okay.
I think this actually there is a game. It's on Android. It's on Google Play Store, and it's Hole.io, I think is what's the name of it. And it literally is just a hole. You move around on a landscape.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Eat
On
stuff.
a landscape?
Yeah,
Landscape.
Landscape.
Atlantis Morris.
So how many cups is that there, Tactical? Oh, no, never mind. You can't hear anyway.
It's just one. I've taken like one sip. I've had 2 cups of
Never
coffee.
mind. Never mind. I'm good.
Can you see my screen? Am I sharing a screen?
I see it. I'm just afraid to add it, but I can add it.
I did a search. Look what I did a search on.
Okay.
Right? And this is what it pulled up.
Well, that's interesting because the story of Bobblik Flukenthal is the story of fishing. It was about a WoW character, wasn't it?
I think he even winked at you just now when you said that.
I think it was a side thing that I just
See, he
completely
winked.
made up from a WoW
Yeah, he
character.
did.
And so, okay. That is hilarious.
It knows.
It does know.
It knows.
Bobblik Flukenthal. I'll dig that up. I'll dig that up. Copy it out of what's might be left of MySpace. And yeah, we'll put that one. We'll put that one out there. So
Somewhere. Publish it in a book of short stories.
yeah,
Probably.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, but no, I do not recall that fishing game, I'm afraid. The next thing I was going to guess was you're talking about that motorized little game where you had the little plastic fishing rods with the
Oh,
Oh, where the mouths open and close at like carnivals and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
that fishing
I actually
game.
seen one of those recently somewhere. I don't remember where, but I was like, man, I ain't seen one of those in years.
We got my son one a few years ago, but the thing is that they had changed it up. I distinctly remember yours. The fish inside had these little magnets in their mouth.
Had magnets. Yep.
Mhm. And the fishing poles at the end of the strings was a magnet, and you just,
Yeah, it really
But
wasn't.
no, they changed it.
Uh-oh.
The one he's got, it's not magnets now. It actually has a plastic hook on it, and you have to actually hook the fish instead of just connect the magnet.
Where's the fun in that?
That's what I said.
You want to be able to drop it in, get it to connect, and then fling it back out.
And, hit somebody.
Right? Come on, I don't want a challenge. I just want to use a magnet and catch a fish. Come on, I'm like 5.
I mean, if you hook it, now you have a weapon. So
if you hook it, hook it.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you hook it, it ain't coming loose. But if you sling that magnet, you've got a flying fish. So,
well, that's what we wanted. That's the whole point.
Yeah, it's a flail.
Yeah,
it's a plastic fish flail with a chunk of magnet in it.
A sling and a flail.
Or a chunk of steel in it or something.
A flicker fish.
That's
a flicker
another
fish.
case that they just don't make them like they used to.
No, they don't.
Come on. I mean,
We'll go play lawn darts, but not the safe kind.
I'm up for it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be a dumbass and stand there and watch it come at me.
like something out of Grown Ups.
Yeah, I'm going to say
shoot that arrow up.
I would. Ah!
That was yeah.
That was a good movie. I enjoyed that.
It just makes me think of the dude. You got a dart in your neck. What?
Is that bad?
Is that bad?
Oh no,
oh, dude, man. I love you, man. But you're crazy.
Little did we know what we were getting into the night we all went to go see Old School.
We're going to streak.
I don't think any of us anticipated just how funny that movie, how good a time we were going to have that evening.
Master of Puppets starts up. Here comes a van. Looks like 18.
Yeah.
Good time.
Still to this day, I dream of the day that we pull up and actually get to do that to somebody.
We did.
We have several times.
No, because we didn't jump out and eat somebody's food and then tell them, we're going to kill them if they tell anybody. No, I'm just kidding. We'll have him back by, dinner.
Movie. Real world. Don't know if we ought to try that in the real world.
Next thing you know, there's a line of cops behind us. It's like, they just want to share some food, man. No.
Yeah. I was like, no, we've done that. As safely as one can do.
In real life.
In real life.
Oh yeah, we rolled up on a certain individual, and
hijinxed him.
Yeah,
we
yanked him and throwed him in a Jeep.
Yep.
Come on with us.
Jeep Grand Cherokee,
which is no longer maroon but blue now.
Yes,
but it's still ticking.
Yes,
that old Jeep is still ticking.
Hey, that blue color is nice too.
He did a good job. He did a good job on it. He's taking good care of he's taking care of my old baby. I know it ain't mine anymore, but
who got it? No, don't answer that.
Yeah. I mean,
Not really.
You don't?
I probably did at one point, but I've slept since then.
Okay. Well, they work at Napa, and his son has it.
Oh, okay. Okay, we're good.
There we go.
Napa, his son has it. everybody went over to see when this son was born. When they used to come over to my house and sit and watch anime, and then one night nobody showed up, and I didn't know why.
And I knew
because everybody went to the hospital but me because I didn't know. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Like,
guys.
thanks for telling me.
Bunch of jerks.
Hey, I wasn't there.
I got nothing.
I
got nothing.
I don't know.
I don't know what I do.
And now that boy is 18 years old, and I'm feeling pretty damn old.
Jeremy, that was 18 years ago. Why are you bringing up old shit for?
Dude, that's what we do here.
It's like
bring
the whole purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the old. Yeah, come on. That's our motto: grumpy old geeks grumping. Except for Zesty, he's a young. He's a
grumpy old geek in training.
He's a
grumpy
young,
old Greek in training.
Exactly.
Greek. You're a Greek.
Yeah, Greek.
The grumpy old Greek.
He's the zesty Greek sauce.
The zesty Greek sauce.
Zesty Greek sauce.
He is the zesty buffalo.
Yeah, he is also a zesty buffalo. We're gonna get you back to Chick-fil-A. We're gonna get you that girl.
Listen, I'm still waiting for you guys to take me.
Number.
Come on.
Listen at him. Come on. Come on, Cletus.
I've been telling you for months. Let's go back to the movies. Let's go to
We also
Chick-fil-A.
told you that night to go back up to that register because she had sent you a message with that sack full of sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
For our viewers,
sent you a message.
Everybody knows.
That sack full of sauce. What a line.
For our viewers, everybody knows how stingy Chick-fil-A is on the sauce. Okay, if you don't give a number, it's like maybe 2 packs. You've got to give a specific amount. And this girl loaded Mr. Zesty here with a sack full of like every flavor, particularly the zesty buffalo. And
I was gonna say that was what she gave him most of.
I asked for Chick-fil-A and barbecue sauce, and she gave me like 8 zesty buffalo, 3 or 4
and she's trying,
of the
obviously,
Chick-fil-A, and then another 5 or 6 of the
We'll leave it to our viewers, but obviously that's a sign. That's a message.
If that doesn't scream, ask me for my phone number, I don't know what does.
Come back up and, talk to me, because, come on, 8 packs of zesty buffalo, and you didn't even ask for it. Get her.
Run her
Get
down.
her, Ray.
Grab her.
Next thing you know, the police are escorting me out. I was just following orders.
And we're going to be like, I don't know him.
What did we see that night?
We went to see the new Dragon Ball movie. I think, right?
No. Because you had been the Zesty before.
We went to see Afterlife, I think.
That sounds right. We went to see Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah.
That's it. I remember.
Yeah, I didn't go to that. I wasn't with you.
Speaking of which, watching stuff, I am very excited for next year. There's a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipeline.
What you got? What are you looking forward to?
For instance, the new Diablo 4 is supposed to be coming out in April. Arc 2 is supposed to be coming out next year. I don't know the exact date, but and then I think the animated series for Arc is supposed to be coming out next year.
Yeah.
And it looks really good. They've got David Tennant playing as Rockwell, and it looks really good.
Well, he can do crazy.
Yeah, and Rockwell's the best among them. So
I mean, not at first, but he eventually turned that direction.
Well, that's what they allude to in the show. It's like one of the lines he has in like the trailer is, "The Ark will expose all its secrets only to me," and it's like, Jeez, dude. You were crazy long before you got corrupted.
If you take a look into the story of Ark, you learn pretty much that Rockwell was very full of himself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to begin with.
Yeah.
But yeah.
See.
Matter of
I don't
fact,
know
he
that I'm going to
actually
have enough.
considered Galena the only person close to his intellect to actually have a conversation with.
Helena?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Arc 2 is supposed to come out in 2023. It doesn't say what month, but it does say it's supposed to come out next year.
Of course, one of the four of us has no idea what we're talking about because he doesn't have enough hard drive space.
I don't. I'm sorry. Just can't allocate it. It is what it is. But hey, it's cool, guys. It's cool.
That's cool.
You do you. You do you.
Listen, when it comes out, you need to at least play Arc 2 with us. You missed Arc 1, but you can still play Arc 2 and be a part of the experience, man. Do it for Vin Diesel. Come on now.
You can know what fear is when you come upon a T-Rex and
all
you have is a spear.
Not even a T-Rex. He'll be getting on the beach, getting chased by a Dilo, screaming at it. Go away, you little ankle biter.
I could, but I don't know. It's harder. I'm finding it harder and harder to commit to newer games here lately. Badly.
Well,
it's and I don't know. It's I just keep going back to old stuff. I just finished a Earthbound run. Wore it out, kept coming back to it, but newer games, there's just nothing I'm looking forward to. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's old age. I don't know. We'll see. Jury's still out, but hard drive space is definitely going to be a factor.
I had a discussion with one of my coworkers earlier today, even that people have gotten not even just referring to you or anything like that, but people have gotten really judgy on games. People
that sounds
judge
kind of
games
personal.
Extremely harshly now, more than they used to. And it's not that. It's just used to people
feels like
would
a
look
jab
at a
at
game.
me.
No, it's not that. But especially with how video game reviews have become more how do I say this? They've become more public. There's more people reviewing games, and so it's becomes a he said she said kind of deal where one person will say they don't like one thing about the game, oh, it's too laggy. Well, then another person says, oh, the game isn't quite as polished as I would like. And then by the time it's all said and done, you've got the opinions of 16 different people where each one had one thing they didn't like, and now everybody doesn't like those 16 things, and the game is garbage.
Well, okay, so
makes sense.
And so
it's not so much a judgy thing. It's just I just don't have any desire or ambition.
It wasn't necessarily directed at you. It was just in
No,
general,
I
a lot
know.
of people are really harsh on games when they didn't used to be as harsh.
Well, and some people are.
Yeah.
I mean, as I've played some of these, I'm in the middle of a Resident Evil 2 playthrough right now.
Yeah.
And it's just it took me a solid half hour to readjust to control schemes that just wouldn't fly now.
Yeah.
But I'm just but once I readjusted, I started having fun again. I'm just man, the the old memories of this series and everything. But yeah, stuff. I mean, you're right. There's overall with games, people are very
picky,
harsh now. And it's funny if you look at reviews, you always see 10s and maybe a few 7 to 9s, but you never see anything that's just okay. After or it's just straight bottom of the barrel.
Yep, it'll be 60% up in the 7 through 10, and then the rest at 1 to 2.
Yeah. But now with me, it's definitely more of a I don't know, just a lack of ambition
Yeah.
or anything that interests me.
Well,
I mean, I've definitely fell into kind of a camp of like I have my key franchises.
Yep.
And if they're not releasing something for those franchises, I just don't buy anything. I don't get very adventurous, and I probably shouldn't, because I know there's a lot of great games out there that
Yeah.
are new original IPs, and I can't convince myself to pick them up and play them.
Yeah.
And I want to. It's almost like certain book series, that you hear praise about. I'm not a big reader, but I want to read these book series based on some people's like reviews and word of mouth, and I can't convince myself to pick up. Audiobooks work for me. I have started at least doing that much, but yeah, it's lack of ambition, I guess. I don't know. It's some old age funk where I just want to play old stuff now. And
did you get to play Halo Infinite?
I it's on Game Pass. I didn't have to pay a dime for it. I downloaded it and I played probably 10 minutes and never picked it up again.
Halo Infinite was a prime example of what I was talking about, where everybody at the initial launch, everybody was so excited about it. They were so happy with it. They're like, this is great. They've returned back to their roots. Everything's great. And then like it was almost like a domino effect. One person said one bad thing, then another, then another, and then all of a sudden, about 3 months later, after the game had been fully released, it was garbage.
Everybody, well, and I didn't really keep up. I kind of, because again, I played 10 minutes, and mainly because I saw a squirrel somewhere. It's not a negative or a positive for it. I just stopped. But I'd kind of picked up a little bit of a like sudden souring, and everybody was really happy at first. And I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It actually reminds me the other day, when you talk about perception and how it can quickly, there's a domino effect.
Yeah.
The other day, the Critical Drinker put out a video, one of his quick reviews, quick one shots, I guess, on The Last Samurai. And now I remember seeing Last Samurai in theaters. I loved it. I had a blast with it. I thought it was a great movie.
It was a good movie.
Yeah,
it's really good. Very well done movie.
Loved it. I did. I mean, that was my opinion of it after I watched it, and then I remember like shortly after seeing like this string of negative reviews, and some of it based on what wasn't historically accurate. Which, I mean, which movie is?
Most movies aren't
on anything historical, but some of it was that. Some of it was. I mean, it ran the whole range of hate on this movie, and I'd actually commented on his YouTube channel. I said, thank you for putting this out, because honestly, it's inspired me to kind of like this movie again, because I'd let that domino effect of perception keep my love of Last Samurai quiet all these years. I never went back and revisited it. I never mentioned it, because the way that perception, that domino effect happened, I was under the impression that everybody else thought it was shit and hated it, or it was not as good as I thought it was, and I just quietly let it slide away. And I've actually been meaning to go back to it now, because I'm like, thank you. I feel like somebody else validated it, and I felt like I was the only one that liked it at the time. And I know you guys, obviously you liked it too, but it shows how much perception can shift something. And yeah, like I said, Critical Drinker, he definitely kind of reinvigorated my love of that movie. And I'm going to go back. I need to go back and rewatch it. But yeah, it's scary how that can change something. And that's another example.
I'm trying to remember if I saw this movie or not.
You need to.
If you haven't, yeah.
You really need to.
I'm trying to think was there another movie called The Last Ronin or something?
Probably.
Because
Probably. But Last Samurai, Tom Cruise.
yeah,
yeah.
I'm looking at it, but I was just trying to remember if I saw it or not. It
At
aired in 2003.
At the time it came out, you'd have definitely been on the younger side.
Yeah, I would have still been a toddler, dude.
You'd have been a young lad.
Oh, good Lord.
But I recommend it. Go check it out. You really should.
Well, I've been doing that with
Even
a lot of movies here recently. Is I will find them on see if they're on YouTube, and I'll just purchase them because most of them are like $10-12.
Mhm.
And I've actually accumulated quite a few movies on YouTube just because I wanted to watch them.
I love movie sales.
Yeah,
They're my worst enemy.
yeah.
But definitely, you get a chance because it's a good movie. It really is, and I'm glad to finally, like, thanks to Critical Drinker, be able to like kind of like reemerge and be like, yes, I did enjoy this movie because like I said, I kept it kind of under wraps because I thought, well, everybody else hated it, and
Yeah.
maybe I was weird for enjoying it. I don't know, but no, I'm back.
I've done that with a lot of movies. Where I thought they were personally really good and like I enjoyed them and watched them. Like I don't like a lot of them weren't necessarily like the best movie I ever watched, but they weren't as bad as people made them out to be.
Mhm.
And because I think that kind of happened with. Do you guys remember Alita Battle Angel?
Oh yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
the advertisement. I never did go see it.
It was.
I never got around to going and seeing it either. I wanted to.
I saw it
Oh,
3 or
golly.
4 times in theaters. I went with like 4 groups of people. One time I went with my dad, one time I went with my buddies, and then one time I went with Lazy and my cousins. And so like ended up seeing it like 4 times in theaters, and it was great every time. I enjoyed it watching it. Literally in the span of like 2 weeks I watched it 3 times. And I still like I didn't really find anything that I absolutely just hated, but it got overshadowed. I forget what movie came out the same time. Was it the Ghostbusters We Do Not Speak Of? I think it was around that same time
I don't know
that
what he's
came
talking
out.
about.
That came out, and so they were preaching
Yeah,
a lot
that
of. They were trying to hype that
I don't
movie
know
up
if
at
it
the
was
same
that or if
time.
it was Captain Marvel.
Oh, that may have been it. It may have been Captain Marvel, but basically, it was getting a lot of hate, and so they were preaching that it was because it had a female lead. But then Alita Battle Angel came out the same time and got a lot of positive reviews from the public, but negative from the critics. And it was the opposite for the other movie that came out around the same time with a female lead.
Yeah.
And so it's like the public's like, but this movie has it, and this movie's really good.
Well, and it's funny you mentioned that because you know this whole, again, it's more kind of that narrative control.
Yeah.
And,
I don't want to get
how
too political, but it was just like
no,
it was
don't worry about it.
frustrating.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah. It really frustrated me at that time.
Because there's right ways and wrong ways to do some of this stuff, and when you ultimately attack your audience and you over politicize and you make it really on the head, on the nose, yeah, you do ruin your product and you insult the people you're trying to sell a movie to, which honestly should be everyone.
Yeah.
But no, I get that. Alita, if you just try to tell a story, I don't give a shit what the gender is,
Yeah.
or the race or whatever. And the case that come up, oddly enough, earlier today was Kill Bill.
Kill Bill.
Nobody complained about a strong female lead with it. Everybody, I loved Kill Bill.
I don't think I've seen that one either. I need to watch that one.
You do need to watch that.
You do need to see Kill Bill.
Listen.
But that's
I'm trying
another
to catch up on
case.
movies. I'll get there.
You do. You got some catching up to do. But that's another case of a strong female lead. They didn't overly politicize it or try and beat anybody on the head with it. And I loved Kill
just
Bill.
A good, fun movie.
That's all I want to do. And that's my key thing with a lot of this is I just want to have fun. For the love of God, I just want to go to the movies and have fun.
You know what's funny is
stop pushing agendas and just produce good content for the love of God.
Yeah.
That one came out in 2003 too. Apparently, you had an era for good movies.
we actually did,
because you said the same with the Last Samurai was 2003, and this one was also 2003.
But
so
there's 3.
Came out
2019.
2019 on the 14th of February. And then Captain Marvel came out on the 8th of March.
It was definitely competing with Captain Marvel, and so, but
and that was the thing. Like I was so looking forward to Captain Marvel, and the way they wrote her, along with Brie Larson's dazzling personality, that just shows that honestly, when she acts, she's just being Brie Larson.
Yeah.
Dazzling personality.
Yeah, just amazing. Yeah, I was looking forward to it, and then they did the same. It was on them.
Mm-hmm.
Shazam on April 5th.
Shazam was good. I enjoyed Shazam.
That says something about like what
are you eating?
The actors. What do you mean? What am I eating?
I don't know. I'm just curious because it looks like you're eating something.
We can't tell what that is because it's all Game Boyed.
And I want to know. What are you eating?
Is it spotted dick?
It is a Debbie cake.
Oh.
Okay.
Is it one of the ones I bought for
yes, it is.
Star Crunch, Nutty Buddy.
It was probably one of the zebra cake rolls.
Zebra cake roll.
Yep.
Okay. I was just curious. Continue. Proceed.
Anyway, okay. So a lot of what you run into is like, used to you had where actors off the screen, they could be bad actors, meaning being a jerk. Chevy Chase has been known for years
Chevy Chase
of being just this horrible jerk face. People just cannot stand him.
You could almost make the argument is Chevy and Bill Murray in a pissing contest to see who's the biggest asshole.
Yeah, I mean, like really, like real, like no doubt.
I mean, because they come from the same mold. I mean, really.
Bill Murray wins hands down.
Well,
but
his pussy.
And
I'm sorry, but his pussy footing around is the reason we got the 2016 Ghostbusters shit fest. I'll stop there.
Thanks, Bill Murray. Anyway,
and I hope you see this.
I hope he does.
I doubt it, but go play golf, whatever.
I doubt he'll see it, but
he won't care.
but that's the thing, though. I mean, it's like you have people that were actors or are actors that on the screen they are freaking amazing. I mean, they do great stuff on the screen. Chevy Chase is one of those guys. I mean, just look at the vacation movies. Those are some of the funniest movies.
And we're entering the time of the year. I will watch Christmas Vacation numerous times.
Bingo.
And still roll on the floor, laugh out loud at stuff over it.
So, I mean, that should show you, kind of how that is, because in the same, I guess, kind of segue into that with the whole Brie Larson thing. Chevy didn't really talk ugly about like the fan base or the people that were coming to watch the movies. He was just being a jerk face to the people who were working on the movies or that were his co-stars. The people that were actually having to deal with him as a person.
He still did his job, even though he was a jerk.
And this is a general problem with Hollywood now. is they feel like it's okay to attack the fan base. And that, honestly, that's business 101. You don't attack your customers. Even if the customer's out of line, you don't feed them. Don't whether you do or do not believe in some of the stuff that Doomcock puts out. And he's been really into it with Indy 5 the past couple weeks. The director of Indy 5 even directly took a shot at Doomcock over stuff that is or isn't going to happen in Indy 5, which it's kind of like, okay, now you've acknowledged it. So it's kind of like, is there some truth to maybe what's going on? I don't know.
Probably.
But it's like if the director of Indy 5 is acknowledging the stuff at Doom has took a jab at Doomcock, that's bad business. You don't do that. Like, I mean, you've ran a business. I mean, like there's just some things
you don't feed the trolls for sure.
You don't feed the trolls. There's just some stuff.
That's number one. You don't feed the trolls, and then and so.
And Hollywood's gotten away from that, and it's like, well, we're going to attack our fans. Like, you don't attack the customers.
Don't bite the hand that feeds.
It's like,
it's that'll bite you. That'll bite you back.
You put a movie out. You put like, take it for example, back in the 80s, you put a movie out for He-Man, Dolph Lundgren. Okay, that movie was something else. But as a kid watching that movie, watching He-Man on the big screen, of course, it didn't have anything to do with the power of Grayskull or nothing like that, because, well, he wasn't Prince Adam. He was just He-Man going around fighting the bad guys. But
it's true.
It is such a guilty pleasure movie for me. As an adult, I know the issues with it, but as a kid, it blew my freaking mind. I loved it, and I still love it. I still love it.
That was who they were targeting, though.
Yep.
And they said, well, my little girl's not going to want to watch that. I don't know why you would put that on TV. I don't know why you would put that out in the movies. We don't need that out in the movies. Well, that's not who they were directing that towards.
It's okay to target certain audiences with your film.
Okay. Yeah,
your movie doesn't have to hit every single.
Doesn't have to check every box.
I mean,
we're going to do this for everybody. Well,
I'm not
sorry, you can't.
Because, as a little boy, I wasn't exactly chomping at the bit to go watch My Little Pony, Strawberry Shortcake, Rainbow Bright, Care Bears, and shit like that.
But you should have.
Apparently.
Apparently I should gripe because Squid Game didn't have, like, and I'm looking like Squid Game and I think All of Us Are Dead. I'm trying to think both. I'm watching this. I'm like, I know I'm watching Korean-based films, and I may be wrong on All of Us Are Dead, but I know Squid Game definitely is. But it's just like, I don't care. I'm watching this for the story. I'm not going to go over here and fuss because,
well,
I'm not in it.
That
obviously I've chosen this genre, and it's just it is what it is. It's the movie that I'm picking.
Yeah, well, that type of mentality hit with like, take for example, anime. We've talked about anime before. Goblin Slayer. When Goblin Slayer aired, people were like, there were some that had a big issue with it because these goblins were raping and killing women in the movie or in the show, not the movie, but in the show, and it was pretty graphic. I mean, it was hard to watch. I'm not gonna lie, it was hard to watch.
Mm-hmm. They didn't.
And but the thing about it was that when somebody said something to the creators were like, so
that's the story they want to tell.
It was supposed to be dark. They were setting a tone.
Yeah, it's like I can't watch that. Well, okay, we weren't targeting you as our audience. We were targeting
that's
a different audience.
What I admire
about
the Japanese and manga and anime is to hell with our isms and our representation and all this other crap that, like, you know what? I'm going to tell my story. I'm going to tell it how I want to tell it. And that's all there is to it. And I'm not bound to anybody.
You're going to
And-
either like it or not like it.
And you're going to like it or not.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
after-
that's why I think the best stuff is that's out. Some of the best stuff that's out right now is manga and anime because it's sticking straight to the story.
But that was the thing and that's it. And I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who hadn't gone and hasn't watched that yet. But yeah, that first 2 episodes or so, it was pretty freaking hard to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But it set them up as, these are the bad guys.
Yeah.
We don't want you, getting any
sympathizing.
feels
Yeah.
for the poor
The bad
goblins. These are the bad guys. These
Right.
are bad creatures, and they deserve what they're getting.
What's coming to them? Yeah, absolutely.
And but in order for that to happen, and in order for a strong character like the Goblin Slayer, that has to be in the story.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other way around it. You can't have a strong character when you have a weak plot.
Yeah,
it just doesn't work.
The same thing went with Berserk. When Berserk aired, Berserk was one of the roughest animes. Even still to this day, it stands up. It's probably one of the roughest to watch ever.
That one's hard to watch too.
And the worst part is they didn't even put all the really bad stuff in the anime. Like they kind of glossed over a lot of it. Like just like in the first issue of the manga, Guts is born from the corpse of his mother, who is hanging from a tree. And then he is adopted by a band of mercenaries, by the mercenary band whore. Basically she gets passed around. She gets an STD, dies. And so Guts becomes the new mercenary group whore. And that is the first issue of the manga. And it was like, when you are setting a tone for something, you just need to tell the story, and you need to stand back and just let it happen, because it's, whether it's rough or not, that's what they're going for.
yeah.
They want that because that's the character's development.
Yeah. There's a lot. Don't compromise on your story. Focus on the story. And
Yeah.
And look, I'm not saying you can't have allegory and some other things, but everybody's Hollywood in particular, their game is we're going to beat you over the head with it.
Yeah.
Like leave it open ended. Like make it subtle or something.
You can
but
suggest it.
Don't beat me over the head with it. But because it does take you out of the story, because it's like, oh, obviously there's their message. When obviously we have so many examples where that doesn't have to be the case.
Yeah.
And just entertain and tell a good story and leave it in there to be interpreted. And that's a good storyteller.
Yeah.
When you don't have to rely on all of what Hollywood is doing now.
Well, I did notice something when I was looking at this 2019 list.
Mhm.
It has the highest grossing films of 2019, 1 through 10. 7 of these movies have the same distributor.
Disney.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me too much.
Well, I think that bubble is bursting. And it's funny because I'm sure number 1 is Endgame.
It is 1 through 6 all belong to Disney as the distributor. Avengers Endgame, The Lion King, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, Frozen 2,
Which is a
Toy
crock
Story
of
4,
bullshit.
Captain Marvel. 7 goes to Sony. But even though it goes to Sony, it is Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Okay. So it's still within the same family.
Same universe, different company.
And then number 8 is Aladdin. So technically, on a technicality, you could say 1 through 8 of the top 10 grossing movies Disney had their hand in.
Well, from what I'm hearing about the Black Panther numbers, and honestly, all of what Marvel's put out this year and last, I think the bubble has burst. Um,
And Endgame was
and
the
it,
beginning of the end.
well, it was the end. I wouldn't say it's the beginning. I mean, Endgame was fine,
I
but
thought Far From Home was really really good, but like
I,
everything else around that was like
I
just almost
still,
worthless.
I still enjoyed Far From Home, and definitely No Way Home.
Yeah.
Which
Um,
I've not seen No Way Home yet. I need to see that.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
No Way
hadn't
Home
actually
was
got to
honestly,
watch it
great.
yet.
after Endgame, that's the best. That's the last great, amazing Marvel movie. You do need to check it out.
Which is
Um,
really funny because
but it's
that's actually one of the story they used in that movie is one of the most hated comics like comic I can't think
Arc.
because yeah, comic arc. It's one of the
mhm,
most hated ones in the comics, but they did a actually really well job and like people really liked it.
yeah. I obviously I have no proof
Yeah.
to say I didn't jot this down. I should have jotted it down. But somewhere several years ago, I uh I had said I got this feeling that Endgame is truly going to be the end game.
That's what I said. I
And
mean,
that
that's why I said it's the beginning of the end.
well, but it's not the beginning. I mean, it's the end. And then everything out after is the beginning. And I
I'll elaborate in a moment. Finish your thought.
okay. But I had said that, I felt like that they will be able to perfectly wrap up that saga, put a bow on it, stick the landing. And Endgame ain't perfect. I've heard some critiques of it that do make sense. Um, but I had this gut feeling that everything after nobody can maintain. Hollywood just can't do it. But I just had this feeling that afterwards it just wasn't going to be the same. And so far, I've been right.
Um, I forgot to mention this, but or well, yeah, talking about something else, but uh, I heard on like some numbers, and basically right now the comics that are grossing the most income and most numbers are all manga. Like
Yeah,
none of it is like all the and so like a lot of the American comic book people are really really angry because all the top grossing stuff is coming out of Japan.
Japan is absolutely kicking our ass in
Yeah.
comics
Um
because they're not doing the woke bullshit that DC and Marvel has made as part of their game, and they hype up all these whatever I don't care. I really don't. I just want good stories.
yeah.
But they hype up all this stuff all on all these woke angles, and then it doesn't sell because they still don't really get their audience.
Um
and yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I've heard from a lot of different sources similar things that Japan is kicking our butt, and I'm fine with that. Honestly, I mean,
um
I'm still a big Dragon Ball mark and everything else when I can catch it.
My
I'm
boy Gohan.
I am God. I'm jonesing for Dragon Ball to return to anime.
No.
They said the next manga when it comes back is actually going to be a prequel arc to explain what happens prior to superhero.
mm,
So it looks like they're going to try and squeeze that on in.
um
So I'm looking forward to that. But no, I mean you're right, Zesty. It's that they're focused too much on these agendas and things, and obviously it's not selling, it's not working.
yeah.
And, it's like I've said, I don't just tell a good story. I don't care
Yeah.
about the sex or the race or anything like that. I don't. I just want a good story and be entertained. But when you beat people over the head, I,
Yeah.
You have
Two other
you're
examples of
sacrificing something along the line that yeah, it falls apart.
two other examples of not caring what sex or race a character is you take Kingpin and take Nick Fury. Both of them in the comics were white. But Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin, to me, he absolutely sold it. I mean, I loved Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin.
God rest his
Yeah.
soul.
Um,
You're right. He did a good job.
I'll agree with that. He did a really good job.
I liked him, but good God, D'Onofrio as Kingpin and the Netflix Daredevil.
D'Onofrio's the good actor to begin with, though. Too. I mean,
it's hard to hold a candle, but I don't.
Daredevil
I don't
series
have.
was just good in general.
But I don't have any negative on
for
Michael Clark Duncan's
I mean,
Kingpin.
I wish he's so bad he was still with us. You have no idea.
You're right, because he was an incredible actor taken too soon, like so many others.
Yeah,
and I mean, hell on that line, losing Kevin Conroy this week. God,
I know that was rough too.
That hurt.
Of course,
that
Sam Jackson as Nick Fury.
But yeah,
holy shit.
Well, and they had already led to that with the Ultimates version. Nick Fury.
Flurry.
Nick Flurry.
Nick Flurry.
Nick Flurry. Now at Dairy Queen.
No, now at McDonald's.
But yeah, I mean, at this point, yeah, you couldn't replace Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. I mean,
he owns them now.
Oh man!
But yeah, it's like, yeah, I know where you're going with. I get it.
But Kevin Conroy, that is a huge loss. There was, I don't know if you guys seen it or not on Facebook. It was a like a comic frame that someone did frame by frame, and it had Commissioner Gordon and Batman meeting up, and Commissioner Gordon made the comment, "You're a lot quieter than usual," and Batman just hands him a note, and it says something about sorry or something like that.
Sorry, I lost my voice.
Yeah, and it was.
And then it had the bat signal with Kevin Conroy's face, I think.
Yeah, so it was very touching. It reminded me of what they did for Mel Blanc when he passed, where it had all of the Looney Tunes characters he voiced standing in front of a microphone, and it just said above them, "Speechless."
Yeah.
So
Conroy,
it kind of reminded me of that.
Conroy hurt a lot. I mean, I think I speak for all of us when he was the voice of Batman. I mean, if you read a Batman comic, it was his voice. For basically our entire lives.
Now, I do remember the Super Friends, the 1970s era Super Friends that they did, where they had the League or the Justice League. Batman, if I'm not mistaken, was voiced. I think Adam West voiced him for the cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, and
so
not taken from Adam West because he was
well
Batman too in his own way, but
right. I mean, we all laugh,
though.
But I mean, West was the original, but no, Conroy. I mean, what, over 30 years?
Yeah,
in more forms of media than any other actor. I wish I could say I remember meeting him. I did meet him. I have a picture. It wasn't a bad. I don't remember it. I wish I could say I remembered it, but I mean, he was nice. I remember that much. I've met a lot of celebrities from cons over the years, at cons over the years. I wouldn't say there's anything overly memorable about meeting him, but I mean, he was nice. And I've always said, I remember the bad ones.
Yeah.
So it's good he didn't fall into that category. And I got a great picture with him. He signed my collector's edition of Arkham Asylum. Or Arkham City, I'm sorry. Or no, it was Asylum. shit. It was a second. It was the second Arkham
It was an
Batman
Arkham.
game. Damn it.
Arkham City.
City. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you've been huffing the propane too much.
No, just the maker's mark.
Well, that'll do it.
But no, it's like, there was nothing, I guess, overly memorable compared to some others that I really remember and enjoyed, but there wasn't anything negative either. I mean, he was nice. He was very nice, very respectful, appreciative.
Man, he
But
was
yeah.
Batman in a lot of stuff.
Oh, yes,
yeah.
he was.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm not even joking. He was like,
Well, I mean,
it has a list of all the video games he was in, and all of them are Batman except for Lords of Everquist and Jack and Daxter and Max Payne 2. Everything else is Batman.
That's and honestly, I don't think there's any argument to, at the end of it all, he is the best Batman.
It's really funny because it says
Live action, voice, you name it, he is the Batman.
It says
well,
92 is when he started on the animated series, and then it
Yeah.
was like everything after 97, he didn't do anything but Batman.
Well,
Oh,
and he
did Venture Bros and Alien Force.
and
Ben
he
10.
so perfectly was able to split the Bruce and the Batman
Yeah.
and made them very distinct and separate emotionally, tone wise, you name it. Yeah. He is the GOAT.
That's kind of like Mark Hamill. I mean, everybody knows him, with Star Wars. They say, oh, Star Wars, that's Luke Skywalker. But even though I was raised up right at the tail end of, the Star Wars franchise really getting a good foothold. Yeah, that was Luke Skywalker, but that's the freaking Joker.
I would agree. I'd agree with that. I've maintained that for a while myself. That you're Luke. You'll always be Luke to me. But I actually gotta put him higher for his Joker role.
Especially in his older age, his voice changed. And so now when I hear his voice, I can only think of that Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Especially now that it's gotten more raspy and gravelly, I hear Joker in him way more than I hear Luke.
Yeah. I just because that's the thing is like the two of them together.
What a team!
You had Conroy and then Hamill, and both of them, playing off one another with
And I may disagree with a lot of what poor Mark puts out there sometimes, but there's no denying that those two were a team, and I do feel sorry for Mark because Mark is hurting.
He's got to be.
He's hurting right now, as we all are. But I feel for him.
Read an article that the thing is, it was almost like an unspoken rule that was set for them that whenever Kevin and Mark came together to do any recording for any type of Batman media, they pretty much wanted to do it together. At the same time.
I read that as well.
Yeah, in the same booth, and so
because they fed off each other, that energy.
They feed off one another and produce their best product by doing that. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle Batman media moving forward. It'll be interesting on.
I mean,
whoever takes over the role has big shoes to fill. And they're not only going to be judged by us, they're going to be judged by those that worked with Kevin too.
Yeah. I don't know. We hurt, but I don't know that it'll be because there's been numerous Batman voices even over the years, of a lot of the DC animated universe. So I think we just might see more variety, but I know there definitely will never be another Kevin Conroy for somebody that just owns the role. I think we'll just see more of that rotating door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going through. Well,
Yeah.
kind of like what they're doing to Optimus Prime right now and other different media. You don't need to be fucking around with Optimus Prime's voice. That's Peter Cullen's. It belongs to him.
I was
Well,
I
and
was okay with them using the voice actor for Roadhog from Overwatch. He did one of the animated series, and he does. I think he did a pretty good job.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, but he also does that guy. We talked to him, the voice actor
Yeah.
for Roadhog, and he actually was doing the voice for Optimus Prime at one of the Disney worlds.
Oh,
So like one of their either it's what I don't know if it was Disney or Universal, wherever they've got the
it's Universal.
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was
Universal's
Universal.
where they've got like the life
But
size, just like
he was
Autobots and stuff.
he was playing Optimus Prime, and they were doing like a Make a Wish thing, and the real voice of Optimus Prime was actually there with the kid. And he said so. He said that was really cool because I was talking as Optimus Prime to Optimus Prime.
He
Even
was.
I remember
Optimus
he told us
Prime
that story.
acknowledges Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime.
Yeah. I got to talk to him. We both did, me and Lazy, for quite a while, and I got him to sign one of the a Roadhog Funko Pop, and he was a super cool dude. We probably spent 20-30 minutes talking to him. But speaking of people that we're gonna have to say goodbye to in terms of in their respective media and the role they own, uh, Henry Cavill is leaving The Witcher.
Yeah.
I've been hearing some interesting things around that, and if some of what I've read or had listened to is true, I don't blame Henry for leaving.
No, he apparently, like, from what I understood, he said he was just tired of constantly fighting them, trying to get the right stuff out there.
He's
He
he's a
truly
geek.
is.
He's
Yeah,
a
he
geek.
truly is one of us. Like
He is. Everything I've read and seen. I mean, the man builds his own PCs for crying out loud.
the
And he
man
wants it.
plays Warhammer. I
And
don't know
Warcraft.
what. Well, yeah, I don't know what gets much nerd. Like, have you ever seen people play Warhammer? Have you ever seen it? It's literally them spending hours painting these
Painting those.
individual figurines and then putting them on like a war map, basically, and then rolling dice to see if they hit each other.
Yeah,
He is one of
They
us
will
at his core.
he is.
they will
He's
build and create full on blown landscapes
Yes.
to play this on.
Oh God.
So yeah,
It's
he wants it to
it's
be the
but
source material.
there was like a
and that
literal
is
interview
amazing.
where
Because I mean, he could just as easily say, "Yeah, give me my check, whatever." I He has all the respect in the world for me for standing
yeah.
up for the source material. If all that is true, and honestly, I am dying for him to return to Superman and hopefully get a proper
Yes.
Superman
Mhm.
because he's the Superman we deserve right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely love him in the role of Superman. I mean, I
And
don't think anyone's really done a bad Superman. That's just my opinion. But when
mhm,
it comes to someone portraying him, he's definitely the best we've had since Christopher Reeve.
yes,
I think he
absolutely,
is the
and
best Injustice style Superman we've ever had. Cause
it's
he,
just a shame that WB has screwed the pooch for all these years
hmm
because they can't get their DC universe properly done and all of that stuff. I won't even get into that, but it's just like we've been wasting time and years because like he's he there's so much potential there. Use him, do it right. Yeah,
him and Jason Momoa, and here recently I've become actually a pretty good fan of um new Spider-Man. I can't think of his name right now. Tom Holland.
Tom Holland. Yeah.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are 3 actors that I have come to actually really, really like and like appreciate here recently, because those guys are actually like they try to put in the work, and they actually are decent actors, and they don't get real political. They try to just be themselves and hang out and do their role and get out of there. Like, and like
Treat it like a
for me,
job,
yeah,
as
and
it
for
should
me
be. I
that's
mean, do your job. Don't piss off your fan base. I
yeah.
mean, be respectful.
And from what I've seen, Momoa is apparently like a very laid back, fun loving guy.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
hysterical.
He's the clown.
Did you see the preview where he has like fake muscles on, and he rips them off like when he gets home, and he's like this
Yeah.
this little like
And the
twig of
hair.
a man. It's so
His
good.
hair, he's bald on top.
Yeah, he's bald.
I've
Uh,
seen that.
it's the greatest. And
You know he
he's
had fun with that.
yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, and he is like, and that's the thing is like they seem like genuinely fun guys, like you could actually spend an afternoon with and just talk and hang out.
Yeah.
And like I love watching some of them go, like especially because like there was an interview where Henry Cavill was like pointing behind him. He's like, that thing looks like and then he said something from Warhammer, and he's like, anybody who knows Warhammer knows what I'm talking about. And he's like, and it really did, and it was really funny. It was like a chandelier thing, and there was one where him and Tom Holland were in an interview together, and Tom Holland's like, so what is Warhammer? He's like, well, you get these figurines and you fight each other. And he's like, can I join? And so apparently him and Tom Holland are planning to do like a Warhammer thing. And so it's like
That's
they just seem like people,
they
know,
seem
and
like
it's
actual
nice.
real people, and
Yeah,
that that goes a long way with connecting to
Yeah.
your audience and creating like additional respect and honestly
Yeah.
desire to go see your product.
Oh, it's hysterical to watch Tom Holland spoil movies too. And spoil like stuff from the movies. Like when they were posting Endgame, they sent him the poster before like they released it, and he live streamed, leaked the poster for Endgame before it was like actually announced.
I think they
So
planned
people,
that.
so they say, well, no, because it's so funny because on the back of the letter it says, "Do not like confidential." Do not share on the
I was-
back of it, and then he flips it. He's like, so this is the new poster, and then when he flips it around to show it to the camera, he sees the confidential do not show, and he's like, oh shit.
I'm in so much trouble.
Oh.
Yeah, and he kills the live stream. Oh, it's so good.
Oops.
Yeah,
And we need more of that
yeah,
from actors, Hollywood in general. You know, good, healthy interactions with your fan base.
yeah. We need more just normal people.
Yeah.
And that's like
I'll be honest, from some of my experiences, and I'll stop at that point at that line. Normal is rare
yeah.
in the Hollywood crowd.
Well, like
Well,
you
the one dude that played the Flash, he's like,
oh, Urza Miller.
yeah, he ain't gonna be playing the Flash no more.
Oh,
Oh, no.
God.
I don't know
like
how WB recovers from that.
he like kidnapped some girls, didn't he?
Man.
He kidnapped a woman a woman and her child.
Mm. How can they catch
And
him?
was
He's
like-
the fastest man alive.
And they said,
I-
basically it came down to that he was grooming, is what they called it, or what
Yeah.
they
Established.
established.
I'll be honest. I'll be happy if WB cancels that Flash because I can't stand his Flash. Because every time I've watched his Flash,
goofy run.
I can't tell if he's trying to be Barry Allen or Wally West. I
He's trying to
can't
be
figure out
Barry-
which
Barry
Flash he
West.
wants to be.
Which one is it? The TV show one or the DC movie? Are you
The
talking
DC
about?
movie.
Okay.
DC movie.
Yeah, because they
He's
actually
supposed
did
to
a
be-
fairly
he's-
decent job with the TV show.
Yeah, the TV show's been pretty
I'm-
decent.
I actually prefer that Flash.
Yeah.
But
Um,
yeah, the Ezra Miller Flash, he's all over the place. Like I said, I know he's supposed to be Barry Allen, but the way he acts, I can't tell which
Yeah.
he's supposed to be
He's
or is
too
trying to
like
be.
he's too like twitchy and flaky and
I'm not a fan of his
unsure of
Flash.
himself, and
Yeah.
yeah, he acts like uh basically like a teenager who just got scolded by his father. That's the best analogy I can come up with, because he's just not confident in anything his character does. Um I will tell you, a movie I did enjoy that I actually finally got to see here recently was Hacksaw Ridge. I got to see Hacksaw Ridge, and I really enjoyed that. With
I'm familiar with it. I've heard of it, but I can't say that I've actually watched it.
mm, it was really really good. It was about the guy who basically he went into World War II as a and he didn't carry a gun. He just went in as a field medic, and he just hauled bodies off and like got people back home,
Right.
basically.
That's the gist of what I've heard.
And it was
And
fantastic.
I've heard it was great. I'll admit I typically act legit historical movies and
Hmm.
stuff based on real events.
Avoid.
I typically avoid. And there's nothing wrong with them. And what I have seen of that category, I do love, and has been well made. Um, but I tend to approach movies and go for them more for the pure escapism.
Yeah, I
When
can
I
understand that.
go, I just really really want to check out, have a blast, have silly fun. So yeah, yeah, like I said, not a knock against that movie
Yeah.
because I've heard great things, but I typically I just don't go that way. I just don't steer towards those movies. If I see them, I do appreciate them. I watch them, love them, but I just don't. Yeah,
Um.
and I think some of it kind of goes to the real world is so shitty
Yeah.
anyway. It's kind of like I don't need to see another even if it is inspiring. I don't know. Like I said, I'm in it for the escapism, the roller
Yeah.
coaster ride, or even if it ain't a roller coaster, just fun.
Um. One of the movies I'd like for us to like actually sit down and watch together, because I've never actually seen start to finish, is The Mummy with Brendan Fraser. I've never
Oh,
actually
That's a
seen
good
it
movie.
start to finish. I've seen bits and pieces of it over the years, but it like scared me as a kid. Like I'd get nightmares and crap, and so I was like, I never really watched it all the way through.
we should do that one night.
Because I'd like to watch The Mummy and The Mummy 2, because I've seen the start of I think The Mummy 2 where he's shooting the fish with the handgun and he
Mhm.
keeps sticking himself with a hook.
No, the first Mummy is great. That was a hidden gem. That was a surprise because I remember seeing it in theaters.
Because heck, we could do a whole podcast on watching The Mummy.
Just the
Yeah,
Mummy series,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, the Mummy series. Um, oh, that was another good one.
the
I was
Mummy
looking
was
through
a.
my YouTube movies that I bought and
Mhm.
watched, and Grown Ups. I rewatched Grown Ups, and it was everything I had hoped and remembered about. And I still love that movie. And I finally watched Grown Ups 2, and it was okay. I still enjoyed it, but it wasn't as good. But the original Grown Ups is just hysterical, especially when that dude gets shot in the foot. I lose my crap every time that dude gets shot in the foot with that arrow.
I shoot an arrow into the air. Where it lands, I do not care. Unless
Until
it's
it
my
lands
foot.
in you. Yeah.
Unless it's my foot.
Um, has everybody seen the Top Gun Maverick yet?
Yep,
No.
that was actually we talked about
No,
it in our
really.
first episode.
Ah, it was good.
It was amazing.
Jerem, I tell you what, I've got it on YouTube. The next time I swing by, we can watch it. I'll like cast it to the TV or something. But
Probably do that.
yeah, I still have yet to watch the
We need to
Uncharted
keep a
movie.
running list.
Yeah,
Yeah, you do, especially after the discussion tonight. Kill Bill.
yeah. Well, I mean,
What was
it's
the other
like I
one?
said.
Shoot, I done forgot. I'm old.
Oh, the one with Tom Cruise, the
It's Last Samurai.
Last Samurai.
Samurai.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you do. You do need to get caught up. Hell, we'll have a movie night or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
We could run through all the movies that us old fogies got to go see in theaters while Connor was in diapers.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would love. I would laugh
t-
so hard to make you guys suffer through all of the Fast and Furious movies. I watched all of them like in like 3 days. I would laugh so hard just to watch you guys squirm
Now I've
at all
seen
the.
some of them. Now come
Yeah.
on now. We've seen some
Some of them are just
or all.
so like over the top goofy. Like they're trying to be serious and like edgy, and then it's like, what the crap are you boys doing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so good. Like the one of my favorite scenes was one of them. I think it was one of the new ones. They're chasing Vin Diesel, and they've got like grappling hooks in him, and they're like, he must have 1,000 horsepower under that thing. Try 2, try 3, and I'm like, 3,000 horsepower, huh?
It's a lot of horsepower.
Yeah,
That's
3,000 horsepower,
That's
huh?
a
That's
full 18
boss.
wheeler trailer.
Yeah, and it was like some it was like one of these like sports. It was like Ferrari or Lamborghini or something. It wasn't even like a big muscle car that was designed to have a lot of horsepower. It was just like a
I
a
mean,
luxury
the
supercar.
Union Pacific big boy engine only
Yeah.
had about 6,000 to 7,000 horsepower. So
Yeah, it's like you stuffing a tank in this Ferrari here?
Let's not get into Fast and the Furious physics here.
But it's so
come on, and
funny.
engineering.
It's so funny to watch
it's
him
fun.
just laugh.
It's fun.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Uh,
You know what you're going in for when you go to
Yeah.
see it.
Hobbs and Shaw was good. It wasn't really a Fast and Furious movie, but it was like in the universe, and it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
It just goes into the thing when you go to see a movie, I don't expect realism
Mhm.
out of movies.
Yeah.
Do I want over the top? No, but I don't expect realism in these movies. It's like Last Samurai mentioned earlier, people grappling about it because it isn't historically accurate. Look, you want historically accurate, go watch a documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Like,
Yeah.
There is a balance, when it comes to like, your fun, your realism, there is some cases that it's honestly, I don't know if there really is a consistent metric. It's just,
it's
because
kind of
I mean, we've
going
seen
by
some
feel.
some complete over the top bullshit and had a blast with it, and then other things, it's like, the moment they get a little bit off path, it's like, okay, this is stupid, and this is garbage,
It's like we said earlier, you have to set a precedent. So if you start the film off being super serious and super accurate, and then you like throw something out of left field, it ruins everything that you just set up.
The
Well, and
fonts
that's-
just jumped the shark.
it's
Nuke the fridge.
commit
Yep.
to it.
Nuke the fridge.
You have to be committed from start to finish, and I think that's kind of something I think in a few videos Critical Drinker has brought up. It's kind of a committal thing where it's believe in what you're selling.
Yeah, you got to pick one. You can't just like flip flop. It doesn't
Yeah.
work.
I really, really want to watch Last Samurai now. I haven't got a chance to, but you should, Zesty. You should.
We'll just add it to the list. We'll do a movie night. We'll go through
Yeah.
the Mummies and the Last Samurai.
Well, I owned it. I had it on DVD. at one point. Of course, DVDs now look awful on. If you have a little more current, I need to find a
It's
new
funny
copy. But I
how
sold it. Actually, I think I sold because I purged a lot of my DVDs at one point. But
it's funny how awful things look when you actually like scale them up to new graphics.
yeah,
Like when you scale like a Game Boy game up to like 4K, you're like, wow, this looks like trash. But then you play it on the actual
Wow.
Game Boy.
Wow, this looks
it's
terrible.
And it looks
perfectly
awesome.
fine.
And then and it looks fine on like the actual Game Boy. And that was like I saw a video on that, and they're like, sometimes things are designed for a specific graphics setting in mind, and so they look better at that graphics.
Yeah.
And so like you've got these
Well, that's
people will do this scale up where it's like, we scaled up this movie from 1999 to 4K, and it's like it
sometimes it
looks
works.
garbage because they
Sometimes
scaled
it
it up.
doesn't. Yeah, and sometimes if you upscale in the wrong way, it's like, oh, that is very clearly a movie set.
Yep.
I can now very well see that now.
Look, I can see the fish wire.
Well, and that's
Yeah.
gosh, that's such a struggle now on when it comes to trying to play old video games. And Lord knows there's not
Oh,
enough love,
things are just
and
not as scary.
being a former history major, I'm looking at video games, kind of in this historical perspective and preserving, what's come before, and being able to have that accessible. And oh gosh, it is a nightmare to try and play old stuff and find ways to make it work, make it look good. That's where I love my little modded GameCube, because it's got the HDMI, it's an onboard mod.
Mhm.
And those GameCube games look fantastic now on an HD TV, but it's a fight. It's a challenge. You've got to do your homework. You can't just say, I want to plug my N64 into this, 4K TV and expect anything. You've got to do some homework, or just dig up an old, Sony Trinitron, and
Old
then you've just
plasma
got
that
this
weighs
400
3,000 pounds.
then you've just got this 400-pound TV, just to play old games. And honestly, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, you're all guilty of it. Throw more love towards your history. And I get there's licensing and there's rights and all this other shit. Figure it out. I don't care. But like, you have too much that is being lost.
Teams of lawyers that can handle that crap.
Yeah, figure it out.
Well,
figure it out.
they remastered the what are you were just talking about, the Resident Evil games. They remastered 1 and 2.
Yeah, they're remakes. They're not
Yeah.
remasters. Because like what I'm playing on the Cube is the it's the original Resident Evil 2. They're very, and the Resident Evil 2 remake that Capcom put out a few years ago is a vastly different experience. It's still good, but it's like, I want to play the original. But
I remember when we were all still in the apartment buildings, and we had gotten Resident Evil 1 on GameCube.
The remake.
And our plan was to play through it that night. Because the thing is every one of us had played Resident Evil on PlayStation. We knew it up and down, forwards and backwards, like the back of our hand, and we were so sure we were going to get through that night. Next thing you know, we're thrown for a loop because everything's been rearranged.
And then those damn Crimson Heads. Holy shit.
Man, did we get our asses handed to us.
That was, I think it took 2 weekends overall. We had to come back and revisit it another weekend. But yeah, I just all three of the major vendors and Square, Konami, all the actual developers, Capcom, you name it. It's just, I just feel like there needs to be more love shown for what came before and having accessibility.
Yeah.
to that old stuff.
So, little known fact about Resident Evil 4, it almost wasn't released first on GameCube, I think. It was almost released first on Xbox. Like it was almost an Xbox exclusive.
Really? See,
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that.
So what had happened was the creator of Resident Evil absolutely hated Sony's guts. Just despised them. And so he went to their direct competitor, Xbox, and talked to like one of their reps or whatever, or their translators, and was like, I want to release my game on your console. Tell me why I should. And the interview that the creator had with the Xbox was so garbage, he left and took it to Nintendo.
Yeah, Xbox definitely had some learning back in
Well,
those early days.
Well, the thing was that it was entirely the translator's fault because they basically got a hold of like the interview and
Mhm.
reviewed it, and it was entirely the translator's fault. He's like, because basically what happened was the creators asked him, he's like, so what kind of games do you want to create? And at their time, like Nintendo wanted to create games that were fun and like all that was their slogan or whatever.
Mhm.
And Xbox's was like, we want to create games that are art. The translator literally just couldn't say anything. He just was like, I don't know.
Just a miscommunication.
He's basically like, well, it wasn't even that. He just basically could not give him an answer.
Mhm.
Like he was just so garbage that the dude's like, I can't even talk to you. Like I can't. And he's like, and so he just got up, left, took it to Nintendo, and it became a Nintendo exclusive for a long time.
I about to say because I remember because I had the
And
Cube, Resident Evil 4.
yep, and so it was, and it was one of the top grossing games of that time. Like it was the game at that
Well,
time.
yeah,
And
I mean with the Cube at
and
the time, that it was a big deal,
and
and
could you imagine if it had released on Xbox? How big that would have been for Xbox?
well, especially considering at that time, Xbox had Halo going for it, so
Mhm.
you'd had a kind of a double. Because the
Yeah.
Cube, as I've gone back and I've kind of reviewed the Cube library, I have a
It was
soft spot for the Cube. I love the Cube.
just
It
kind of
was
lackluster
it
though.
was a fun system, but overall, you're right. Yeah, it was kind of that was the beginning of the whole like Nintendo console, Nintendo first party games, and then everything else is kind of meh.
Yeah.
And
The Wii was the
that's when
same
that.
way.
Well, I mean, I guess really you could argue that it started with the N64. If it wasn't a Nintendo first party game, there was a lot to be, desired.
Yeah.
I do remember and recall how a lot of the titles, the library itself, especially going from the SNES to the N64, the library just seemed to get very narrow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that actually was part of what the coffin nail into the N64 was. And then
Yeah.
leading into GameCube, and then it just
Well,
seemed to get worse.
the Cube had a pretty good, I feel like, resurgence
Yeah, it's
because
true.
the problem with the 64 was it was just a bitch to program for. Everything I've read was that because of the architecture and the video stuff with the N64, it was a pain in the butt to make it work for it and program it and get it to work.
And most everything was very
Blocky.
polygonal. But the thing is not every game had to be that way.
Mm-mm.
Because I mean, Pokemon Stadium wasn't that bad.
Oh yeah.
GoldenEye was a little blocky, but it had some.
Oh, the hours
What was
lost
the
of GoldenEye.
I know.
what was
Uh,
the
Mortal
Pokemon
Kombat
game?
Mythologies Sub-Zero was
Mhm.
not a blocky game at all. It was a
Well,
suck
and
game, but that wasn't Nintendo's fault.
well, and we were still in that era of, well, we can do 3D now, so we have to do 3D. When they didn't realize, it's like, well, no, you could still do 2D and really make it pretty. But it was just this perception that because we can do 3D, we have to do 3D. It's like, no, you don't have to.
No.
We were still in that learning curve of like, kind of like tell the story you want to with the the art style you want to. And I guess that's where, I feel like by the time the GameCube come around, it had started to shift. I mean, look at Wind Waker. Wind Waker was pure art style over.
Yeah.
And I know Wind Waker is a mixed bag depending on the individual you talk to. I know.
I just got mixed feelings about Wind Waker.
Wind Waker's a hard sell for some folks. I get it. It's okay. It's okay. I get it.
It's kind of funny that to get brought up because last night I re-looked up the Legend of Zelda chronological timeline,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, God, this thing's so complicated, and the pathing for Wind Waker. Wind Waker fell into because we discussed from Ocarina of Time, the timeline split into two directions.
Mm-hmm.
One, the hero of time succeeded, and the other one, the hero of time lost. And then the one for the hero of time succeeding is actually broken up into two timelines as well.
Yep.
One that follows Kid Link, where Link returns the Master Sword to the pedestal, and then one that it's adult Link, where I think Zelda returns the Master Sword to the pedestal. I may have those mixed up, but Wind Waker follows the child timeline. I'm still lost as to where Breath of the Wild falls into play. I want to think it's the adult timeline, but they're actually talking like right here's the very last Zelda game of any of the timelines, and here's Breath of the Wild.
Way on down the road.
Way on down the road, like where those first few games that came out are actually myth and or legend.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I hadn't really looked it up on Breath of the Wild.
Just a quick interjection. I finally found it. You know what one of the first games I ever played on GameCube was?
Tiddlywinks.
Your mom.
No, Pokemon
Oh, wow.
XD Gale of Darkness.
I'm sorry. It just popped in there.
What
I'm
just popped in there?
I'm just ignoring you, so
There we
it's
go.
okay.
So Pokemon, what of Darkness?
Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness.
Okay.
I had appendicitis when I was, I think, 9.
Really?
And so I had to go into the children's hospital, and they had a cart, and on it was a Nintendo GameCube, and they had this game preloaded, like just already there, and you could just pick it up and play it while you're in the hospital. And I was
Oh.
like, that was my first experience with like an
A,
actual legit console
a
and getting
cube.
to play.
Hmm.
And after that, I think shortly after that, we ended up getting a Wii and like stuff like that. But like before that, the only thing I had was a Game Boy Advanced SP. It was the blue clamshell. Like that was it. That's all I had. We didn't have any consoles. And so that was my first experience. I loved that game. I forgot about it for probably over a decade. And then I saw a YouTube video by somebody called Jaden Animations. and she was bringing it up, and she's like, "Yeah, this is the Pokemon game that either nobody heard of or everybody forgot about." And I was like, "Oh my god, I
It's
forgot all about that."
in my Cube revisit that game has come up quite a bit
With
as
that,
kind of a
the
hidden gem and one of
the
the
Gale of
top.
Darkness.
Yeah,
Yeah,
one of the top Cube games. I've not played it myself, but yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about it.
there were the concept
I'm
was
in the not heard of it
basically
camp.
this group was corrupting Pokemon, so there were dark Pokemon. Well, you could you had to fight the trainers who had the dark Pokemon, and then once you got the Pokemon weak enough, you could steal the dark Pokemon from the enemy trainer.
Okay.
As at least that's what I remember of it. And
Yeah.
on the box, it has like a dark version of Lugia, which is like you had Lugia and Ho-Oh from Heart Gold and Silver. But it's funny because I'm looking at one copy of it, and they're selling a copy of it, like a graded copy, for like $1,800.
Good lord.
There you go.
Yeah,
Still not as much as that still sealed in the plastic cartridge
Oh.
in box Legend of Zelda went for.
here's another one, and it's for $3,000. It's
You know,
a 9.4.
if I had a time
Graded.
machine, I'd just go back in time and buy a bunch of video games, sealed,
Like Joe Dirt.
put them in a box, and then wait.
Like Joe Dirt.
Yeah.
I would just go. Yeah.
Just invest in Apple stock. It's easier.
Yeah, probably, but it's
It's
just that knowledge. It's just that knowledge of knowing what this shit was, is going to be worth. Back
Yeah.
then.
Hey kid, here's $1,000.
I mean,
put it all in Apple
I just
stock.
think.
Yeah.
I just think.
Dad, this crackhead walked up to me and just handed me $1,000 and said invest in Apple. Well, why did you
He's
do
stupid,
it?
son.
I
We're
don't
not going
know.
to do that. Let's go buy a car.
Yeah. He's stupid. You don't invest in that stupid computer company. It'll
All we
never
gotta
take
do is
off.
fruit.
Yeah, what are we gonna do with fruit?
I just think too. I mean, even all the video game boxes, the original boxes I've thrown away because I thought,
Mhm.
well, I just need the sleeve. Why would you keep the
Yeah.
box?
God, I'm kidding myself.
I mean, even if I just had the boxes of some of the stuff that I had, I would still be in a really nice position. Oh well.
So kicking myself.
Yep.
Another good one was Magic. The original Magic sets, like those are nuts.
Yeah, I've heard.
So like a normal forest, like something you would get out of every pack, is $82. I'm trying to think. So like you can get like some of these cards are absolutely nuts. I think some of the Black Lotuses and stuff are selling for like 24 grand.
Good Lord.
Yeah, this one card, Time Twister, it's where like right now it's sitting on TCG. You can buy one for the low price of $13,400.
I got that in my pocket right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where you're just like,
Here,
oh yeah,
let me get it out and show it to you.
yeah.
Mhm.
And so like if anything, that would be a good man, I wish I could go back in time and just buy up a bunch of that.
Original run Magic the Gathering cards,
Yeah.
still sealed in pack, not open.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um
And I say the same thing a lot of times about certain action figures.
yeah.
Yep.
I kind of look at the action figures and the things that they released today and think to myself, is that going to be Is it going to be the same scenario with these as it is for the crap when I was a kid?
Some of it.
It's very hit and miss.
It's got to
It's-
be something scarce and in high demand.
Yeah,
And
it has to be an
and it has to hit on people's heartstrings. Like, it has to be something from their childhood.
Well, and it's just a lot of times it's got to be an exclusive. The exclusives are what'll drive you up the wall now, because most stuff with not too much effort you can get. Like the Transformers War for Cybertron series that I've been collecting and kind of wrapping up. Because now it's legacy. I got a few things, but because they were exclusive, are just stupid price now. But it's all in windows. If you miss the window and they don't make any more, and it was exclusive and that's it, that's what's going through the roof right now. There's some stuff from the 2000s Transformers that'll get a little bit of money. But it's all over the place. It's really hard to predict now. Like, you couldn't just buy it all and think, I mean, good Lord, I'm confident I sold a lot of my Power of the Force stuff at a loss. It's like, oh, Star Wars has come back. Well, Star Wars toys from the 80s was worth a lot of money, so this has to be. And
right. And it never was.
There ain't nothing from Star Wars worth anything.
I've got a Power of the Force C-3PO up here on the wall that I know at one point I think it got as high as $18. I mean, it sold for like $5, but it got as high as 18 in worth, and then from there, some reason it just plummeted. But I mean, I don't look to get rid of mine anytime soon because it's signed by Anthony Daniels in gold Sharpie, so it's going to stay right there.
It's probably worth more than 18 now, but but it's staying right there. It's like so much. Some of the stuff like in my collection, it's like it's more about sentimental, value than like what I know I could get for it. I mean, it's like, no, I'm holding on to this because it's special. It's important to me.
Well, I mean, that one's got my name. It says to Anthony Daniels, and
yeah.
So unless someone has my name,
it's gonna be
plenty of people
weird.
who do. But
speaking of Transformers, we were talking about this a little bit before. Magic the Gathering has done a Transformers crossover.
Yep.
And
have you seen that, The Voice?
I haven't.
Oh, you probably shouldn't.
So right now I'm looking at a list.
There's some nice cards.
There's 15 of them. So there's Ultra Magnus. There is Soundwave, Optimus Prime, Megatron, Goldbug, Flame War,
Shit Piece.
From here on out, your name is Shit Piece.
I'm sorry, I had to.
It's gonna take me a second to recover after that one. Okay, so
golden shiny you are. Your name will be Goldbug. Oh, next to him, I look like a piece of shit. Well, that'll be your name, Shit Piece.
Shit Piece.
Oh, if you know, you know.
Yeah. So then there's Cyclonus, Blaster, Combat DJ.
Yeah, from
nice.
Because I think there's some Shattered Glass.
Acre, Sharpshooter,
Utimus.
Slicer, Hired Muscle, Starscream, Blitzwing, Jetfire, Ratchet, and then Prowl.
Oh, well, you just hit my heartstrings right there with Prowl.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Shattered Glass Starscream intrigues me.
The Shattered Glass Soundwave.
Yeah, complete opposite of the normal
Yeah,
Starscream.
in the magic card is called Starscream Power Hungry.
That about wraps that up.
Yeah. And then you said, what are you talking about? The shattered glass.
So, Shattered Glass is an alternate universe for Transformers in which
Oh,
the
okay.
Autobots are the bad guys.
Oh.
The Decepticons are the good guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
So Starscream is like he looks like Jetfire, but it's Starscream, but it's
Mhm.
Jetfire colors. Soundwave
So
instead
he's
of
like
blue.
red and white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Soundwave instead of blue and gray is white, and I think a little like little hints of green and blue. I actually had the Shattered Glass Soundwave pre-ordered with Hasbro, and I canceled it because Hasbro has had a really, really bad streak of their white plastics yellowing.
Oh. Or
Like,
just disintegrating.
and we're not
They're
talking like, after 20 years.
just
No,
done.
like
Nintendo program?
yellowing in less than a year.
Well, Hasbro also owns Magic the
Original
Gathering.
NES is just yellows, just like, what is that?
Yeah.
It's two-tone. How do you
Yeah.
do that?
And actually, I was looking at some of my War for Cybertron, or not War for Cybertron, some of my older Transformers, and they've been in a box, a plastic tote, protected, and I saw some color changes earlier today. But that's after almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, the newer white plastics with Hasbro, like I'm hold please.
Here we go.
Thank you for holding.
Dun, 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 dun. Like, so far he's doing good. He's all, still good. But apparently this mold of the War for Cybertron Jetfire is bad for the yellowing. And yeah, that's why I pulled my pre-order for the War for Cyber, or the Shattered Glass Soundwave. Is because it's very hit and miss, and yeah, no time at all. We're not talking years where you expect it, but like less than a year.
I guess it could be hit because I have two SNESs, and one of them did the yellowing.
Yeah,
one of them hasn't.
Mine has not, thankfully. But I know what you're talking about. And it all depends on the plastic they use, when they used it, how
it was treated.
Some of it had to do with like the flame, like heat, protection, retardant, whatever.
Lazy, you are shaking the whole camera when you laugh. That's a good belly laugh.
Not retarded. You know what I meant? Like,
Got
that retarded protection.
Keep it from slowing down.
Yeah.
Yeah. You knew what I meant. You knew it.
Listen. You have done that to me numerous times. It's just your turn.
I guess it was my turn.
It's just your turn. I tell people that all the time.
But
listen,
yeah, it's very hit and miss. But no, I have thankfully my NES or SNES is not suffered the plastic yellowing.
Although the funny part is the Transformers cards in the set is called Brothers War, and it has nothing to do with like Transformers, and they just threw them in there. And so like I opened up my box and I'm like, oh,
that's interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know that was there. But yeah, somebody at the store pulled a Optimus, and I pulled what is it? The bike one.
the bike one.
I'm trying to think. Flame War.
And here's the thing: is I don't know the Flame War.
Well, I can see, like, I see her. She has a bow and arrow. She's red and gold and black.
I don't think that was her original name.
Hmm.
Because there was a motorcycle.
Let me Google.
I'm thinking RC.
Yeah, RC was the.
G1 RC turned into a pink convertible sports car. The motorcycles in G1 were mainly the Junkions, Wreck-Gar.
Oh yeah, here's RC.
Junkeep.
RC is a sharpshooter.
It looks like Flame War was a different. She did exist in the original timeline. It says she's one of the last Decepticons from the era of the Great War.
Springer. No, Springer didn't turn into a motorcycle. Springer was a sports car and then a helicopter.
She's from the Shattered Glass.
So,
okay.
is it the Shattered Glass RC?
Maybe.
It's hard to see and tell.
It's hard to see. RC. Ooh.
It says Flame War is a heroic Decepticon from the Shattered Glass continuity family.
Yeah.
Decepticon warrior armed with weapon mode of her partner Fireglide. She will go to any lengths to keep her cause's legacy alive, fighting alongside her teammates Slipstream and Shadow Striker.
Slipstream was a seeker.
The card is called Brash Veteran, and then it has a flip side. All the cards have like a flip side because the other side is their transformed mode where they're a vehicle. And so one side's the transformer and the other side's the vehicle. And it's got a red bike leaned up against a wall, and it's Streetwise operative.
Actually, there was a Protectobot, I think, by the name of Streetwise as well. But that was an Autobot that turned into a motorcycle.
It says Flame War is a mercurial and opportunistic Decepticon serving Megatron on Earth.
Oh, Streetwise was a police car. Fire engine, helicopter, police car, motorcycle. Groove. Groove is who I'm thinking. Okay.
Well,
Flame.
Okay, so apparently she is actually after RC, and she was in Prime.
I saw something saying that she was in one of the 2019 series.
Yeah, she was in Prime.
Man, that was a fun show. Was Transformers Prime. When they threw in the dark energon that resurrected them into like zombies.
Poor Cliff Jumper. Well, her figure does look like just a recolored RC.
They do like reusing that mold a lot.
Well, they do that with a lot of the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it literally says Goldbug is a rebuilt version of Bumblebee.
Yeah.
Like that's literally what he is.
I do remember RC and Arachna going at it a lot in Transformers Prime.
Well, you've got another name to add to the list of dinos you could name after Autobots, or not Autobots, but Transformers.
Yeah,
There you go.
very true.
Name a raptor, Flame War.
I'd probably do that with a fire wyvern.
Hmm.
Or maybe a lava dog.
Ooh.
Big old lava dog.
God.
Well, alrighty.
Big
There we
old
go.
lava dog.
That reminds me of those. Did anybody watch the second Atlantis movie, where it was like a
Mm-mm.
bunch of shorts almost?
That's a negative, Goat Rider.
Ah,
Nope.
that was a good one. They had these like lava dogs, and they ate rocks, and they
Sounds
had
like the ones from Ark.
and they had 6 legs, and they swam around in lava, and like
You sure that ain't enough? You sure
And
that
they-
ain't the lava dog from Ark?
and they breached like whales, like they swam through the lava.
Yeah, I don't recall that.
Oh, yeah. I don't either. I just
Anywho.
don't know.
Anywho.
Anywho.
Well, we're at a little over 2 hours now. I think
Are we gonna stick a fork in it and call us done?
I think we're at a pretty good point to stick a fork in it, call it a night.
How do I
Getting sleep.
How do you
I was gonna
bake
say
a
how
cake?
do I like show my screen or whatever, because I pulled up a picture of it.
Sorry, I can't hear you over the sound of the voice snoring.
Yes.
And wake up. Okay.
Anyway.
I was just gonna,
You may have I think there's an option to present.
Yeah, it's at the bottom.
Yeah,
Maybe you can-
down at the bottom of the screen, you'll see looks like a little computer monitor with a plus
Yeah.
symbol in the middle of it. And it'll give you options. So you can.
hold up.
All right.
You see it? That is a lava dog from Atlantis.
Well, there you go.
Now show one from Ark.
Oh yeah. What do they call them?
Lava dog.
Magnosaur.
Nope. We see your search history there.
Oh,
what
what's
are
that?
you doing?
What was it?
Biggest, dickest porn. What?
What?
I don't think I looked that up.
What?
What? Yeah, that ain't me. And so that is a Magmasaur in Ark.
Okay.
The Adventures of Biggest, Dickest, and Testicles.
I still like this one because he eats rocks.
Well, he's much cuter looking.
Yeah, he's great. But yeah, they
That's kind of grumpy, but
yeah, he eats rocks. It's great. Anyway,
Chompy, chompy.
Whew. All right. Well, I think that's probably a pretty good hopping off point there. We've
Right.
had a little over 2 hour stream. Open mic night was pretty good. I think this worked.
Subscribe.
Yeah, what the voice said. Like.
Who managed to get that one in there right at the
Share.
right at the 11th hour.
After you've hopefully watched for 2 hours,
2 hours.
and 10 minutes.
We're horrible at this. Why do we do this? We're terrible.
No.
Anyway.
We need like a card, at the
very, very
attached to our monitor to remember that.
Kind of goes, ding, dong, ding, dong, ding, dong.
So,
smile.
I heard a story once. There was a pastor.
I heard a story once too.
He would take a mint and stick it in his, under his tongue, and when the mint was gone, he'd know he was time to wrap up the sermon. Well, one time he accidentally stuck a washer in his mouth, and the people were starting to look a little antsy, and he realized he'd been preaching 2 hours past when he normally did.
I've been in the pews when that's happened before.
That's us every single time we plan.
All right. At the beginning of each episode, we're gonna be like, "All right, pass out the mints."
Yeah.
Everybody get a mint. And there you go.
Yeah. My mint's gone.
all right.
Well, it's time to wrap up.
Nah, I think this is a pretty good experiment for open mic night. Just kind of, whatever pops in, let's go wherever we naturally end up. But hey, next couple weeks we're full on into the Christmas season. I think we'll be able to probably pick out a few good targets for.
There's a whole lot of Christmas movies out there.
Yeah, not so much video games, but movies. I think we'll have that covered. So
Die Hard.
I'll be looking forward to. Yes. Yeah.
Looking forward to yes.
We'll dive on into that. So
We'll
look
be
forward to
the
that.
happiest bunch of assholes this
I also want to dedicate a small portion to Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it.
Ta-ta, Turbo Man.
Yeah.
Hey, I have a soft spot for that movie. I don't care
I
what
do
anybody
too.
says. I do have a soft spot for that one.
Oh, God. That was one of his better movies.
Yep, it got a lot of hate, but I enjoyed it. I really did.
Give me the doll.
Give me the doll.
So yeah, so that's what we got coming up to look forward to. As we enter the Christmas season, we'll discuss some Christmas movies. I don't know that we'll discuss any Christmas games because the only ones that come to mind are the Home Alone games.
Right.
And
That was
that's just
garbage.
Did they not make a game off the most ultimate Christmas movie?
Die Hard.
Die Hard.
There was
there
Die
not a
Hard
Die Hard
trilogy.
movie?
There's Die Hard trilogy for PS1, but honestly, I've never played it.
I hadn't either.
Wow.
I know it's there, but I've never played it.
Pretty sure there's another DLC for Christmas on Borderlands as well.
Yeah, sure there is.
We could talk about Raptor Claws that comes in Ark.
Oh, yeah.
How many nights have we spent chasing raptor claws?
Many nights.
More
Many
than
nights.
I'd like to admit.
Many nights.
So, all right. Well, we'll go ahead and sign off. Wrap up our first kind of open mic night. We shot the breeze. What can I
Chewed the
say?
fat.
Chewed the
We
cud.
grumped.
We did grump.
We did
We
grump a
grump.
little, yeah.
So, well, thanks for tuning in. We'll sign off at this point and roll the credits.
Credits.
Yeah. So yeah. Look forward to Christmas episode here in the next couple of weeks. Thanks for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Any other final words?
Ta-ta for now, folks.
Ho, ho, ho. Like, comment, share, subscribe.
See you next episode.
They're turning the frogs.
Booyah!